Happy Thursday. It's Pastor Karen with the Thoughtful Thursday. It's the last day of 2020. Happy New Year's Eve to all of you. I know that you're probably like me, where part of us is saying good riddance to 2020 and trying to have hope for 2021, and trying to, certainly have hope that it's going to be a lot better than 2020 when we are talking at this time next year. But some things just are ingrained in us, and I imagine that a lot of you are thinking about New Year's resolutions, or how can I kind of start the new year on a good foot? How can I make some changes in my life, or make some commitments to how I want to live a little bit better. And I just wanted to share with you, because I kind of have the same thought, but a few years ago I changed my mind about setting resolutions. I was in a small group and I read this book called My One Word. It's by Mike Ashcroft and Rachel Olson. And this book, they encourage us not to make promises to ourselves, not to make commitments that we end up not being able to reach by, what do they say, like 7 or 8, 10 days into January. Most of us have given up on our resolution, but instead to prayerfully and meditatively choose one word to kind of center yourself on for the next year. So I went through that process, and you don't have to use the book. The book is a great study. It's a great resource. Gives you a lot of opportunities to think about different things, but you can just kind of think about what that one word might be. And I'll just share with you that many years ago, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, when I read the book for the first time, I picked a word, and the word was choose. I felt like I had some choices that were coming up, and I really wanted to make better choices in my life. But I also felt like God was calling me to something, and that maybe my word became that, because I wanted to remember that God has chosen me as well. So I actually had made this little thing to hang in my car. Right now it hangs on my bulletin board right here on my desk. So I took it down just to show you, but I made this little thing. You can make a little sign for your bathroom mirror, however that, make it your phone lock screen or something. So I hung out with the word choose for a year, or a little bit more, probably way into the second year as well. And then maybe that third year, I did some more praying and some more thinking, and I chose the word balance at that time, because in my life I was starting to wear multiple hats and have multiple roles. And I really needed to figure out a way to balance them out, so that I was not stressing myself out, that I was making sure that I gave enough energy to everything, including myself. So I chose the word balance, and I have lived with that word for 3 years now. This will be the end of my third year of balance, and I am certainly thinking that is not my word for 2021. I'm still kind of wrestling a little bit with what my word for 2021 will be. But I would encourage you to go through this practice in the next, couple weeks. Nothing says you have to have your word on January 1st, but maybe, search the scriptures a little bit and see if there's a word that sticks out. Maybe hope, maybe promise. In the book, they tell us that there's, the top 10 words are trust and patience and love, discipline, focus, faith, surrender, peace, listen, and joy. But in the book, they also talk about some, people give their little testimonies about what words they chose. And I remember one woman chose the word shh. I guess she kind of thought maybe she talked a little bit too quickly, but either she wanted to remind herself to be quiet, or she wanted to give space for other people. I'm not, we don't know her, but she chose the word shh, which is so interesting. People have chosen the word mirror, the book is interesting. It tells you kind of a lot about those kinds of things, but really your word is your word. You don't even have to share it with anybody else. But one of the things that I did the first time I read through this book with a group of women was we did share our words with each other. And it was really powerful, because when we would come across a devotion or maybe a song or a story that we read that really spoke to the other person and kind of highlighted their word, we were able to shoot them that way, send them an email or a text, or give them a call on the phone and say, guess what I just heard? I heard this awesome story about your word. And so we were able to support each other and kind of learn a little bit about how we are on this journey together. So I would encourage you to find a friend to share your word with. I would love to hear what your word is. So if you want to shoot me an email or, comment on Facebook, or tell me in person, or write me a note, or call me on the phone, I would love to hear what your word is. And maybe we can pray with each other about, how God is going to reveal God's self through our word this year. So I hope that this practice works for you, and I hope maybe it gives you a new way to start a new year, and that we can start this new year with anticipation, that we know that God has great plans for us, and that God will makes all things for good, and that God says he will never leave us or forsake us, and that God's mercies are new every morning. So all of these great scripture verses that just remind us of God's faithfulness. And so I hope that you think a little bit about what your word for this year might be, and I hope that brings you joy and helps you encounter God just a little bit more in a more meaningful way in 2021. So Happy New Year, and I will see you next year. I know that's so corny, but you have to say, you can only say it for a couple days in the year. So I'll see you next year, but have a happy, healthy, prosperous, meaningful, powerful, blessed 2021 to all of you.